Justin Fields is now with the Pittsburgh Steelers after a rough start to his career in Chicago, but he's still just 25 years old and has plenty of time to turn his career around.
It'll all work out. It's time for a fresh start.
Yeah, a fresh start, exactly.
You asked for it and we delivered. It's Fan Friday, and you, the fans, chose today's topic or point of view. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know if you think Justin Fields can turn his career around. I think he can, but it's going to be a tough uphill battle. He was the 11th pick in the 2021 draft and played out his last 3 seasons with the Chicago Bears, but just couldn't get his footing. He had a combined record of 10-28 as a starter and had 40 passing touchdowns to 30 interceptions. He was, however, successful with his legs, especially in 2022 when he ran for over 1,100 yards and 8 scores, but regressed last season with about half the rush yards and half the touchdowns. Of course, a lot of his struggles have to do with the Chicago Bears, who haven't developed a quarterback in decades, but Fields was the best chance at the time to end that streak and was expected to be bust-proof in the NFL. Now, he isn't a bust yet because, as I mentioned, he's just 25, but not a lot of players get second chances in this league, and he may be in his final years if he doesn't turn things around soon. The Bears decided that turnaround wouldn't happen in Chicago, and they traded Fields to Pittsburgh this offseason for a conditional 6th-round pick, a far fall from the first-round selection he was just 3 years earlier. But lucky for Fields, Bears GM Ryan Poles had his best interests in mind and worked with him on this trade. Here's what Fields had to say when asked what it's like to be traded to a historically well-run organization like the Steelers.
I've been dealing with, people for, a long time. So in my exit meeting, we were in the same situation last year with having the number 1 pick, and it was just a little bit different this year. So, I'm not naive to the fact that, I can read body language and stuff like that. So it wasn't really just a shock to where it's like, I got traded. Like, I knew what was going to happen beforehand. So I'm just glad I got, traded to the spot that I wanted to be at.
So now that he's in the spot he wants to be, it's up to him to maximize the opportunity. However, he's in the last year of his rookie contract after the Steelers declined to pick up his 5th-year option, and Pittsburgh signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal to be the starter. Fields may not get an in-game snap this season if Russ holds the starting position all season and remains healthy, so opportunities to prove his worth could be few and far between. But with continued improvement and a little luck, Fields can be back at the helm of a franchise soon, and here's how. And before we get into that, here's the results of this week's poll question. And you all seem to like Tyjae Spears, and we actually did a video about him recently, so go check that one out. Thanks to everyone who participated in this week's poll, and look out for another question next week. Now back to Fields getting back on track. First, he has to learn how to read a defense and pass from the pocket much quicker. According to Fantasy Pros, Fields spent an average of 2.8 seconds in the pocket per drop back in 2023, longest time in the league. And it might be a lesser problem if he didn't struggle when under pressure. Pro Football Focus had him a 48.9 passing grade when under pressure last season, which ranked 39th among qualified quarterbacks. Not great when there's only 32 teams. That's step 1, getting the ball out of his hands and letting playmakers make plays. Step 2 is learning the balance between when it's the right time to throw on a pass play and when he needs to use his legs. If Fields is going to turn things around, his running ability has to remain a part of his game, unlike last season. In 2022, he wasn't an elite passer by any means, but his legs earned him MVP votes despite winning 3 games. But last season, the balance was totally gone, and as a result, he gained 2 less yards per carry than the year before. Russell Wilson has struggled recently, but he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback that has used both his legs and arm talent to maximize his skill set. Fields needs to use Russ as a resource for finding that balance. And finally, just embrace Steelers culture. Pittsburgh hasn't had a losing season since 2006, the last year without Mike Tomlin as the head coach. They know how to create winners, and Fields should be no different. Here's what Fields had to say when asked if he notices a different energy in minicamp between the Bears and the Steelers.
Me being in 2 different places now, I realize that you don't get this culture everywhere. I think Chicago, they are kind of changing the narrative now. But this has just been the culture here for so many years to where you can see it. It's just the way that we attack each and every day. And Coach T, he stays honest about it. So I think just having that and reiterating that each and every day that keeps guys in the toes and guys ready to compete each and every day.
Is that a slight shot at Chicago? If it is, I think it's fair just based on the recent history of the 2 franchises, and I hope Fields can continue to take advantage of it because it's something he can take for the rest of his career wherever he ends up after the season. I hope he stays in Pittsburgh, but that might not be the case if the Steelers season goes how I expect it to go. For more on how Russell Wilson can get the Steelers back on top, check out this past episode of Point of View. Enjoy the weekend, and we hope to find you here again next week.